In this lesson, we'll be looking at the unit standard code 114058. It's a very short unit standard, and its topic will be demonstrate an understanding of the concept of multi-user computer operating systems. All right. So I did introduce to you what operating systems are and the difference between a multi-user and a single-user operating system in the last lesson. If you didn't understand that, you can just go back. But I'll still go back to some of those points to emphasize on the points that we need here to understand what a multi-user operating system really is. I'll skip through this first part, these first pages, because I did describe them before. I'm sure you've seen the video on that. So all this will remain the same. So I'll quickly go to the very first part, which is our first specific outcome. As I explained last time, specific outcomes are literally the objectives of this particular topic. So whenever you hear me saying specific outcome, or SO for short, it just means I'm talking about the specific objectives that we need to achieve at the end of having done this course. Now, the first part of our specific outcomes is that we should be able to do the description of the multi-user operating system that identifies the functional requirements of a multi-user operating system. So we need to see how it functions and how what are those functions that it has, and what are those requirements for those functions to become real at the end of the day. Then our description should also outline the purpose and the functional relationships between the components of a multi-user operating system. So as you might know, the moment we mention such words as system, we're talking about many parts coming together to work as a single entity. So we might look at our computers right now, the ones that we are using to do this course. They are literally systems, because you've got your screen, you've got your keyboard, you've got your mouse, you've got your camera, and all these things are coming together to form what we then call a computer. In this case, with the definition that I just gave you of a system, the computer itself is actually a system that allows you to then do, for example, this lesson. So when we then say an operating system, obviously we're talking about a system, and obviously we're talking about many components coming together to form that operating system. And since it's an operating system, we're talking about a software. As I told you, an operating system is a software that sits at the base of your computer. Without an operating system, your computer is almost like a person without a head. So it won't be able to do anything at all. And the operating system is the one that has all the functions that your computer needs, and even allows for other software to be installed on your computer, such as your Windows Word. And again, an example of an operating system is Microsoft Windows 10, Microsoft Windows 8, your Mac OS, your Android for your phones, and so forth. So those are operating systems. And I'm sure from your experience, for example, using your phone, you have installed such applications as WhatsApp. They then can be able to function on your phone because the operating system is there and it allows them to function. That's why you'll see, if you have ever had the experience of owning an iPhone and also later on an Android phone, you see they are very much similar and also very different in the way they approach. Instead of getting your applications from the Play Store on Android, when you go to the iPhone, you need to get them to on Google Store, Google Play Store on Android. When you go to the iPhone, you then have to get them from the iPhone Play Store. And all those things, those differences are because they have different operating systems. So they also operate differently, okay? And the operating system is the basic, the most fundamental software that your computer will need. And always remember, when you're now talking about computers, when you are learning or when you are specializing in IT, even your phones can then be defined as computers, because computers are virtually machines that can do all those automatic calculations, and they can be able to obey instructions from you as a user. And by that definition, a phone will then suit being called a computer. Though, obviously, for distinction, half the time in real life, when we talk about computers, we're talking about your laptops and your desktops. But in terms of functionality, I'm sure you've also realized it that the boundary between what your phone can do and what your computer can do has since become very blurry. Sometimes you can literally spend the whole day on your phone and be able to do everything that you need to do with your phone without ever thinking of your computer, because in a nutshell, both of them are computers. Anyway, coming back to our learning outcomes. The third one is that the description, meaning as we describe this operating system, the description should outline the functional relationship of the components of a multi-user operating system to hardware components. Remember, as I said, an operating system is a software. Then, for us to have a computer, we should have a software and a hardware. Now, what is software and what is hardware? Software is almost like your thoughts. It's something you can't touch. Of course, it's written. It's written in code. It's literally words. If I could just quickly go to Google here, just for you to see what normal lines of code look like. Let me just say Python programming, since it's my favorite programming language, which then allows you to write software. If I go to images, you'll see. So such an image that you see here, still loading. Sorry, my internet might be playing up a bit. This image actually shows you what software in real life looks like. It will be literally a bunch of code written this way. And all those bunches of code are able then to tell the computer what to do and be able to translate to the computer, to translate to the human and do the reverse to the computer so that they can be able to work together. So that's software for you. Then hardware is something you can touch, like your mouse, your keyboard, your screen. It's literally the component that makes you recognize that this is a computer. Because if a computer was just made up of software, in all fairness, you don't even know where the computer is, because you are using the computer right now. As you are watching me right now, all these bunches of codes are being run in the background. But you don't see that happening. What you're seeing is actually a video of your instructor showing you or telling you what to do and so forth. So for that to be possible, it is actually software in the background that is making that function be accessible to you. Okay, so the combination of software and hardware is then what we then call a computer. In all fairness, if we remove the operating system, for example, from a computer, it just becomes a group of components of a keyboard, of a screen, a mouse, and so forth, which literally don't do anything. It's almost like we've removed the battery of your laptop and not connected it to the main supply. It can't do anything, literally. Normally, it will just put on your screen that it has no operating system, or sometimes it will just be blank, nothing else to show and nothing to do. Just like I said in my analogy, it's almost like a person with his head cut off. They can't think, and also, in all fairness, they can't live. Okay, so that's operating system and hardware for you. So we'll go deeper. This was just our introduction. We'll go much deeper into explaining what all those things are, and then I'll send you those 3 documents that I sent you last time. And obviously, if you have any questions, we've been communicating very well. You can always communicate with me, and I'll always be glad to help you to make sure that you're able to complete your course. See you on the next video.